Oh, and by the way, if you're going to do yourself a COVID haircut, which I've been doing, if you do it right, it looks good. If you do it wrong and you grab the wrong blade, ouch. This is why they invented ball caps. So don't look ugly, look sassy. Make sure you've got your haircut shield on there before you budge yourself.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and man, I use Todd in the intros a lot, don't I? I can't help it. He just cracks me up whenever he posts videos. Not only are they informative, they are entertaining. He may not always say what we want to hear, but he does it in a way that makes you think, oh, well, that's okay, Todd. But speaking of that, Todd did post a video update for his gold label line this week. He started off with The Witcher Geralt, something, showing off the standard version and then the gold label version, which is essentially the same figure, just in a different color scheme, like in the game. You can have different costumes throughout, or that's what I hear. Then he moved on to Mandarin Spawn, showing off the red version that we only just found out about last week, claiming that it had been doing well in sales. And when I hear that, I think, well, maybe he's talking about retailers, you know, buying these, because us collectors and consumers haven't actually seen it go up for pre-order yet. But that led into the gold label version of Mandarin Spawn in the blue and silver color scheme. And then finally he showed off the gold label version of the Batman he himself designed. You can definitely look at it and go, oh, that's Batman, but at the same time, you're like, oh, well, McFarlane had a hand in that. The gold label line is Walmart exclusive, and he says that it should be hitting any time now. He says this week, I think, but it's Walmart. It could be next week, could be the week after. I'm hoping for sometime this month. And then Todd also says he'll be announcing Wave 2 here soon, sometime in the next few days. But next up, let's talk about action figure accessories. We've discussed how the Jakks Pacific Apex Legends line is a little rough. Very nice sculpts and articulation scheme, but very clean looking, and some of the movement is hindered by the sculpt itself, or it's missing rocker ankles. I can't get over that one point. Any modern action figure line with super articulations gotta have tilts in the feet. But hell, I can't complain too much. I've bought a couple of them. But now it looks like Jakks is gonna help arm up your figures with supply bins. Each one is a case that contains a big rifle and then some kind of secondary weapon like a grenade or a throwing star. Excellent concept, something that I've hoped for in other lines to get more weapons out there, but they are blind boxed and they are $12 a pop, so that kind of kills my enthusiasm for these. But looking at the solicitation, it may give us a hint on what we could see in future waves of Apex Legends. We've already got Bloodhound, Octane, Pathfinder, and Wraith. Are we getting a Lifeline, Gibraltar, and Bangalore? Like I said, $12 a piece. Should release this month. Sticking with multiplayer battleground games that I've never played, a few weeks ago we saw the Jazwares Fortnite Legendary Series 8-Ball and Inverted Skull Trooper hit targets with no announcement whatsoever. But that's nothing new for Jazwares, that's just how this line works. You just find them, either online or in store. It's odd when you think about it, especially the way other lines on the pegs currently do it, but it's got to be working for them, because during the holiday season, the Fortnite pegs were completely wiped out. Still wiped out. But there are new things hitting slowly. Hell, I found the 2 new figures of 8-Ball and Inverted Skull Trooper. On the back of those packages, we learned that there's more characters coming, like Scientist and Meowscles, and I'll be damned if they're not already hitting targets. Not only that, turns out those are part of a Brawler series where they're bigger and bulkier figures than the ones we're used to. They also include the projectile guns that came in that weapons pack that didn't hit the US. I think it hit Europe and Canada. But as you'd expect, extra plastic means extra monies. These are $30 a piece. I haven't seen these in person, so I don't know if they're actually worth that price. I may see them in store and then pass off to I almost made it through that sentence with a straight face. Y'all know better. Besides Star Wars and Marvel Legends, this is one of my favorite lines. Hell, you could probably call it my favorite line based on a property that I absolutely don't give a shit about. It's just too fun. But speaking of fun, Plunderlings! These are making their way into people's hands at the moment, and that seems to be the general consensus, from the box to the figure to the accessories. Just a big old ball of fun. I've got my box and I haven't had a chance to open it up because of everything coming out at the moment, but I've seen tons of pictures online and I'm excited about cracking them. But it also looks like the fun is just going to continue on. On the Plunderlings Instagram, we're getting glimpses of something bigger, something beefier, something stronger? It's hard to get a gauge of how much bigger the Plunderstrongs will be compared to Plunderlings, but it definitely has more muscle mass while keeping that sense of plastic wonder. Damn, I love these things. It looks like Big Bad Toy Store has sold through their stock of Plunderlings, so hopefully we'll see more of that and then different things here in the near future. Just keep them coming. LooseCollector has posted up pictures of a final factory piece for the Coffin Comics Lady Death, and I'll be danged if they didn't do a fantastic job of translating prototype to production piece. The subtle blue shading on the stark white skin, the airbrush-like blue highlights on the pitch black costume. Oh, this looks nice. The size is great compared to other comic book action figures too. I had a chance to look at a test shot of Lady Death, but it was unpainted. But judging from that, the articulation and durability is top notch, so I'm ready to get a painted version up in my display. And seeing this makes me excited for the line to continue for other announced figures. If you're interested, it's still available on the Executive Replicas web store for about $53. And should be shipping soon. What isn't still available though is the Mezco Toys 1/12 Collective Rumble Society White Skull Agent. You know the deal here. It's a neat subline that Mezco can throw extra accessories and clothing and repainted heads at their own creations, so they don't have to deal with any licensing fees or hurdles there. But then they make it so limited and hard to find that it usually pisses off more than it pleases. Hell, I saw somebody tweet that it was up for sale. I went to the Mezco site, couldn't find it. Went back to Twitter, found the link directly to it, and it was already sold out. I get it, they want the exclusives and the whole experience to feel special, but I'm just not into scavenger hunts anymore. It's pretty simple. I just want to buy a figure, and when I can't, I'll just go buy something else. And which really doesn't hurt Mezco. They still sell what they wanted to sell in the first place. I don't know, it's a weird situation. Because I totally understand that some people live for the chase, or like having things not a lot of people have, the scarcity, or just the wackiness of the Rumble Society itself. If that's you, I hope you got in on it, because it does look cool. $112 scheduled to ship this month, and that seems to be another sticking point for some people, because they can throw this up, release it within a month or two, while we're still sitting on pre-orders for Iron Fist after more than a year. There's Conan, there's Thanos, there's a few other figures that haven't come out yet. But speaking of another company whose pre-orders usually get pushed back a bit, a while back Super7 solicited their major wrestling figure podcast Ultimates! Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, while hinting at a Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. Last week I had just clicked post on the weekly. I leaned back in the chair, relaxed a bit, went to Twitter, and there's another tease. It's saying that they would be posted this week. Then this week, boom! Good Brothers Ultimates! I don't know how all the legalities work, but I'm guessing these guys own the gimmick, so they don't have to go through Impact Wrestling, where they are currently signed. Honestly, being let go seems to be a blessing in disguise for the Good Brothers. Impact Tag Champions, crossovers with AEW, the reformation of the Bullet Club, Super Elite? And finally, action figures, the pinnacle of stardom. You know you've made it when you have a toy of yourself. The pictures with the extra hands and the extra heads just laying on something, big old bright lights, those look a bit rough, but when you get into the beauty shots with the mood lighting, much more natural. The likenesses look better there. Pre-orders are open for the next month, with each costing the usual $45 we see for the... Okay, even I have my limits before I start annoying myself. The Ultimates lines, with a projected fall 2021 release. Basically, these are just too sweet! To wrap things up, things are still all quiet on the Hasbro front, but there are a couple of Star Wars Black Series nuggets this week. Thanks to yakface.com on Twitter and Kyle B, we now know that there is a running change for the Rise of Skywalker. Did I get it right this time? Are you sure? The Rise of Skywalker Dark Ray. The majority of the first ones, and the one I got, has a bronze color to the Switchblade lightsaber, but then new ones hitting stores have more of a silver flavor. Which one is correct? I don't know. I didn't research that. I probably should have before I got on here all, I know what I'm talking about. Will I want the updated one? Probably. Stupid Star Wars. I was just kidding, baby, come back. Then for the Archive Edition Hoth Han Solo that I reviewed earlier this week, I was looking at mine, and the brown jacket is lighter than the brown jacket we got on the exclusive version a couple of years ago. It didn't really click with me. I thought, oh, this one's different. More options. Yay! But once again, yakface.com to the rescue, along with Brad Pitt. I didn't know he collected Star Wars Black Series. That's cool. Apparently there is a variant version of this running around too. There's the light brown version like I got, and then a darker brown version. I believe the darker version is probably more accurate to what was actually used in the movie, but I kind of like the lighter brown for some reason. It seems more rugged. Will I buy that again? Probably. Damn it! Wait, I'm sorry, I get so emotional. And that's it for this week, which I know isn't a lot, but we're still coming out of that holiday season. Things are still a bit slow. I have a feeling we'll have more than enough to talk about soon. If you're interested in seeing any of these pictures up close without me all in front of them going, oh, damn it! I'll be posting all those, plus more information, links to pre-orders up on the Fwoosh front page Saturday at noon. And to kick back to why it may be a bit slow, this week the news broke that Toy Fair 2021 is completely canceled, and I have mixed emotions. I was happy when it was pushed from February to May because of, New York weather, and this southern boy ain't used to that kind of cold. But then again, I wasn't even sure if I would go if it was happening because of, well, everything that's happening right now. But then that makes me sad because that's one of the big shows where I get to hang out with friends I only get to see a couple times a year. On the other hand, there's something to be said about sitting at home watching all the toy news in my pajamas. Because I know that NECA is planning something for February, some reveals where Toy Fair would have originally been, and I gotta think Hasbro's gonna keep up their stream of live streams. I should have thought that through a little bit more. Streams of live streams. Then there's always Todd with his random videos. So the toy companies are adapting to all this situation, and I don't know if that's a bad thing, especially on their front. They're looking at it as like, hey, we can just post a video instead of paying all this money to go to shows and set up and travel and hotels and food. This may be the way it stays, even if we do get shows back. So it's not a bad thing, it's just different, or well, more the same, I guess you could say. But if you enjoyed this Fwoosh Weekly, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. And I'm just throwing this out here. I've had a lot to review over the past few weeks, but I have been more than ready for the next Playdate. I'm working on that. I've got stuff laying all over this desk that you can't see. It's my secret Playdate desk.